Hey, good afternoon. It's Thursday, July 11th, and welcome back to Everyday Talk 24/7. Recording this a little bit earlier in the day because I've got a procedure about 4 o'clock this afternoon, a laser treatment to take care of potentially a serious case of glaucoma that's developing. Thankful that we've got a great ophthalmologist and with the right kind of technology where it even shouldn't be a big problem. It's a relatively minor procedure with a laser. But doing this reminded me of just how vulnerable we are. Not that long ago, there was no procedure like this, and I would have gone blind eventually. We're vulnerable. Yesterday, as I was going into town, I got off the interstate. There's a stoplight there, and I wait. The light turned. I was first in line. The light turned green. I hesitated just a second and then started to go out. And right in front of me, someone is running a red light in a pickup truck. I could have easily been hit there, but I wasn't. And again, all the faithful times that God has taken care of me. Maybe you've seen, like I have, we've seen life and death situations. I was a lifeguard back when I was growing up in Florida. Came face to face with life and death situations. There are many other times in life where we've seen that. And we realize that could have been me. I could have been lost. But God's purpose stands. He's faithful to us. Again, on the screen right now is the picture from the thumbnail. That's me. 75 years ago, I was about 2. And that little guy, who's now me, has had 75 years of things where life could have gone any number of directions. I'm aware of a couple of things, like with the incident yesterday with the pickup truck running a red light. How many things am I unaware of? How many things are you unaware of where God has protected us and kept us safe? There are times when people are not kept safe, but they're still lived exactly as God intended. He is faithful to us. He's with us every step of the way. Psalm 139 is a tremendous comfort in this regard. Listen to what David is saying. Notice how David draws great comfort from God's care for him, God's knowledge of him. O Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit down and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going and my coming, my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely, O Lord. See what David is saying here. God knows everything about us, even before we begin to think it. That's how intimately God is aware of us. And then verses 5 and 6, David says, you hem me in, behind and before. That means you guard me from the back and the front. You have laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. See, rather than be scared by God's intimate knowledge of him, he's thrilled by it. Because he knows that everything he's with God. Things are happening just as God wanted them to be. So we're vulnerable to ourselves. We're vulnerable to what God plans. But God's plans, they are safe and secure. So thankfully, the vulnerability only goes one way. And that's a good thing for us. And then we skip down to verse 16. David says this, all the days ordained for me were written down in your book before one of them came to be. All the days ordained for me were written down in your book before they came to be. We're all here according to God's timing. Not because we're clever or smart or some miraculous thing happened. We're here because this is the time that God has allotted for us. We're vulnerable to that. But that's a vulnerability that we can be safe in. It also brings us great comfort when there are people that we know and love who are not here. That's also something that is ordained by God. Their days were also ordained for them, written down in God's book before not one of them came to be. We're vulnerable. But we're vulnerable to the Lord of the universe, the Lord of heaven and earth, the Lord who does all things right, the Lord in whom we can have great comfort. So whether you're like this little guy, me, 75 years ago, or whether you've made it this far, God is here taking care of us. Yes, we're vulnerable, but we're vulnerable to the one who cares about us, loves us, watches over us, and is bringing about in us his plan, his place, his purpose. That, brothers and sisters, is a huge comfort. And I, again, just wanted to share that with you before I go in. When you see this, procedure will likely be done. But thanks so much for being here. Such a great honor for me to be able to talk with you each day. And Lord willing, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll let you know how the procedure went. You have a great day. Bye-bye.